कालजुग के बोहित नाम के जहाज हल्फ पल्फ की रक्षा करने वाले हे सच्चे पिता आप दी हजूरी च इस वक्त साइबर संगत ਦਾ प्रारंभ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਆਗਿਆ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਜੀ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਰਸਨਾ ਤੇ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪ ਵਰਤ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਸਮਰੱਥਾ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਆਪ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਸਨਾ ਤੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਗੁਰ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਵਾਓ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ Ji Ayanu Ji, Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is Ravinder Singh connecting with you from Columbus, Ohio. Welcome to the seventh session of Khoj Gurbani. A lot of the faces here are familiar. Welcome all. I will not spend too much time in trying to lay the ground rules. All of you are quite familiar. Just suffice to say that what we are trying to do here is essentially create a learning space where all of us can partake and actually grow in the process on the spiritual path. And we obviously want to respect everybody's opinion and try and learn from it. So that said, where we are currently in our discussion is we started with what we refer to as the Mool Mantra. We began with Ik Oankar and navigated our way through all the way to Gur Prasad. That is where we are. And before I get into that discussion, I do want to point out that through Harvinder, I know that we have actually received quite a few questions on not only the meaning of Prasad, Gur Prasad, but also the meaning of Guru, the idea of, or the notion of the Guru in Sikhi. Now, we have an hour in which to talk about these things, and I'm not sure that we could ever do this justice. However, I'm going to throw it open based on the questions that we have. Harvinder, how do you want to pop the questions to me?
Can you repeat the question?
How are you? So, since you have the questions that came to the forum from various from the Sangat generally, and we had, I think, decided that we were going to actually at least visit those questions. How do you want to proceed? Should we start with the term Gur Prasad and go from there? I would suggest that we do that.
Yeah, I think that is a great idea. I think we can give a Sangat about 90 seconds. They can present their view on the Gur Prasad, and then we can start.
Then we'll branch off.
Anji.
Okay, ठीक है जी. So we are at Gur Prasad. I think everyone present here probably knows more about Gur Prasad than I do. So I'm not going to. All I'm going to say is that we are going to try and focus in on the term Gur Prasad, which we commonly translate as by the grace of the Guru, and that is where we want to start. I'm going to open this up to the Sangat. Is Gyani Gurdarshan Singh on? I don't believe he is. So can we start with you, Charan Singh Virji from Toronto, and then move from there? You've got about 90 seconds.
Gee, thanks. My take on Gur Prasad is that it's a composite word with Gur, Paras, and Ad. Gur is, to my evolving understanding, a sense of kind of attentiveness to attentiveness, and then Paras.
Did we lose them? I think we lost Charan Singh ji. Can we go to our other Veer, Charan Singh in Bangalore? I don't think we have him either. Ekunkar Kaur, I do see you. Would you be willing to set the ball rolling here?
Hello, am I audible now?
Oh, Hanji, you're on now. Please proceed.
Let Ekunkar do, then I'll come later.
Hanji, Ekunkar, do you want to start?
Yes, I'm happy to. when we were speaking on Sunday, I think I had shared my perspective of it, but that Gur is the formula that takes us from darkness to light. So there's in Gurbani, there's a path, there's a jap, the repeat, to meditate and repeat, and it's a give and take. So I have to show up and do my part with the formula, and prasad is that as long as I'm showing up and doing my part, that gives the guru, the aspect of God as teacher and guide, a chance to show me things and reveal things to me and take me on a journey that expands me and grows me. And it's not a journey that I can control or conquer, or it's not a personal territory. It's really a space of surrender where that teacher knows what I need to learn and what karmas I have to clear, and the gift and the grace and the blessing comes in to guide me and show me things more than my own effort could ever take me to. But if I'm not doing my part of reaching through practicing the formula, it can't happen. So it's a mutual experience between myself and that higher consciousness. But that higher consciousness has the power to bring things and do things way more than I can do for myself. I just have to enter into the relationship. So that's some thoughts from my own experience of what Gur Prasad means.
Okay. I thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to turn to Veer Charan Singh in Bangalore.
I totally agree with what Ekonkarji is saying. This is exactly what I would say. In very simple terms, I think it's an egoless state. It's a state of surrender. All the attributes which have been discussed above, right from Ekonkar to Satam, Kartapurukh, and so on, these are only attainable through total surrender. It is His blessing, His kindness, God's kindness, if this is possible. So I would simply say it's a state of egoless, total surrender. Bless me, take me on this journey, and enlighten me on what all this is. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Charan Singh Ji, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਗਏ ਹੋ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ?
Gee, I don't know how it got disconnected.
ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ, connect ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੋ ਫਿਰ.
Guru Kripa Ji.
So you were talking about attentiveness.
Yeah, because to me, Guru is that attentiveness, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ persona, which is a part of us. Without attention, there's nothing. I'm nothing without attention. So I have to first identify what my attention factor is. Then I have to connect with that. And then through that, the primal beginning, connection with the primal beginning can only happen through my attention. There's no other way. If I'm not attentive, even in my day-to-day living, I lose everything. That's what precisely I wanted to say. So Gur, Taras, and Ad. Ad is the primal beginning. Persona means to connect, and Gur means be attentively persona, not just casually persona. Jado ho gaya. No, it has to be a attentive effort.
Thanks. Thank you. Anybody else want to chime in? I'm sorry, manu saaryan de naam yaad nahi hai is vele. So manu, please forgive me. I can see some faces, but I can't attach names to them.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ
ਮੈਂ ਕੁਲਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਾਲਟਿਮੋਰ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇਰ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਬਾਬਾ ਇਕਬਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਰਿਫਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਉਸਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਗੂ ਮੀਨਸ ਹਨੇਰਾ ਤੇ ਰੂ ਮੀਨਸ ਦੂਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਗਿਆਨ ਦਾ ਹਨੇਰਾ ਦੂਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ that is Guru, or true knowledge is Guru. ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ 'ਚ ਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਰਿਫਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗੁਰੂ true knowledge ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸਾਡੇ 10 ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਮਤਲਬ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ that is what I feel. I don't know more to add right now.
ठीक है जी. Does anybody else want to chime in? I know there are people out there.
Harindra, this is Dilpreet.
हाँ जी, Dilpreet Singh जी.
हाँ जी, I take it ਲਿਟਲ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟਲੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਬੁੱਝਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਸੋ ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਜੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਸਕਦਾ ਇਹ ਬੁਝਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਣ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਗੁਣ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗਿਆਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਸਕਦਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਸਾ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਬਲਿਹਾਰੀ ਗੁਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਸਦਵਾਰ ਜਿਨ ਮਾਨਸ ਤੇ ਦੇਵਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਤ ਨਾ ਲਾਗੀ ਵਾਰ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਾਨਸ ਤੇ ਦੇਵਤੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਫਰਕ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਗੁਣਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਫਰਕ ਆ ਕੈਰੈਕਟਰਿਸਟਿਕਸ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਫਰਕ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਆਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਜਰੀਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਕੈਰੈਕਟਰਿਸਟਿਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਪਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਇਹੀ ਦੱਸਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਪਣਾਉਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹਾਊ ਵੀ ਕੈਨ ਗੈਟ ਦੋਸ ਕੈਰੈਕਟਰਸ
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਅਨਫੋਰਚੂਨੇਟਲੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਮੇजेस ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਈਆਂ ਦਿਸਦੀਆਂ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ there are people on ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ maybe I have not reached out to ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਕੇ please chime in ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਬੋਲ ਲਵੋ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੇ ਦਿਸਦੇ clearly
Bhai Gurdarshan Singh just joined and I would like to invite him to present his views. Bhai Sahib, we are discussing the significance and the meaning of the term Gur Prasad in Mool Mantar. We are not able to hear you.
He's probably on mute.
No, he's not on mute, but maybe... Bhai Gurdarshan Singh ji, can you hear us? We are not able to hear you. Okay, I think he's grabbing his.
Okay, so Harpreet Singh, I didn't realize you were on. Since you're on, we would like to get your insight.
So I just want to echo what others have said. That the Guru is the enlightener, and we have to do our part. We have to engage in cultivating the virtues and the characteristics that we've discussed so far in the Mool Mantar. And if we do our part, then Sikh theology tells us that the Guru is merciful, and the Guru will shower its grace on the practitioner. So so that would be my understanding of what Gur Prasad is.
ठीक है जी. So I think we've done a round. If I may be so bold as to offer some suggestion, the term the enlightener from Guru, some people have alluded to. It seems to me that conventionally in the Indian context, Guru obviously is any teacher. But then in Sikhi, it is used in a somewhat specialized way. It's referred to the 10 historical gurus. It is referred to God himself. It's synonymous with Naam. So there are many different perspectives in which it is being used. What I find interesting is what both Veerji, Charan Singh from Toronto, Charan Singh Ji from Bangalore, and Ikonkar talked about. Attentiveness formula, egoless state. This suggests to me that the term Gur Prasad refers to a symbiotic relationship between the Sikh and the Guru, the transformative power of the Guru or the presence of the Guru. But what I would like to suggest is, why don't we turn to Gurbani itself and see what Guru Nanak has to say about who the Guru is? And I will sort of draw your attention to the Siddh Ghost. The Siddhs asked Guru Nanak, who's your Guru? And his response was very straightforward, that the Shabad was the Guru. So it seems to me that a discussion around Shabad as Guru might be the next step for us to take. And with that, I would like to sort of open it up. If Gyani Gurdarshan Singh is on, maybe we can reach out to him. Gyanaji, are you on? No, he's not on. So let's go back to Charan Singh Ji from Toronto. Let's go back through that cycle.
What I feel is that we need to very clearly understand the difference between Guru with Dulankad under Rara, Guru with Ankad under Rara, and Guru where Rara is Mukt. When we are talking about Gur Prasad, we are talking about the specific Guru which Guru wants us to, in my understanding, paras with the Ad Sach Jugad Sach. That is what needs to be connected to persona of through the Guru. Now, when we say Gur and Guru as synonymous, I think we need to first get some layer of understanding right there itself. Sabad Guru, Surat Tunchela, perfectly fine, but I think we should first see how strongly these three guru spellings are connected with each other, how they are related to each other. I've been trying to get that answer for quite a while now with the participation of Sangat, but not to my satisfaction. So my take, as I told you, is Gur. When I say Gur, it is separate from the Guru, which is mentioned in the Siddh Gosht. That Guru is the ultimate, and that is Pratak.
Yeah, but your point is very well taken indeed. In fact, we should spend some time making the distinctions. However, we are tending to use the terms interchangeably. We are jumping from one to the other, and perhaps we ought to take a step back. And as I said earlier, I saw a relationship between what you were saying, Gur being attentiveness, Ikunkar using the word as formula. Perhaps the way I was reading it was the formula for attentiveness, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. And then we can move on. So maybe I would invite the others to chime into this distinction, and a rather important one that Charan Singh Virji is saying. Would somebody like to chime in on that? No?
I would like to just make a mention that instead of formula, if it is okay, can we use the word methodology instead of a formula? It's the same thing in the same sense that through the methodology of attentiveness, we connect with the primal source, which is the Ad. Is that okay with others?
I have no issues with that at all. I mean, I think it kind of points in the same direction, whether it's a methodology or a formula. Perhaps tends to be more mechanical. A methodology gives you perhaps a little more room to innovate. But I guess we kind of get the drift of what is being implied here.
Vijay?
Hanji, Charan Singh Ji from Bangalore, I see you want to say something.
I would just like to ask Toronto to ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, where did he get from, what is the source of his interpretation of what he has just said? Means I find it very good and exciting ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਪਰਸ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ that breaking of the term, but I'm not sure what is the source of his interpretation. And the second part, as far as I understand, Shabad Guru Surat Tunchela is a very clear statement which comes to my mind. And Shabad Guru Surat Tunchela, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੁਰਤ word ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ attention ਹੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. So Shabad Guru Surat Tunchela is a term which I am understanding, but Gur Paras Te Ad, where has he picked this up? Interesting, but just would like to know the source.
Anji, Charan Singh Ji, Toronto. Actually, I had a similar question for you. I found your explanation very compelling, but I was having trouble reconciling what I understand Gur or Guru to mean, and you've translated as attentiveness. I have thought of Gur as being a methodology, as you said, or a formula or a way. So perhaps you could enlighten us on where this is coming from.
I bring the Gurbani quotes while others are discussing, because I have got the gist with me, and I think I can bring because one thing I would like to share with everyone, whatever I will say here, that's all connected or all inspired or all have references through the Guru Granth Sahib. I will not say anything that is just from any secondary source, any dictionary or any other person's perspective. It's all Granth Sahib. And I can refer to those panktiyan which are spread from throughout the Guru Granth Sahib, and I can state that while others are answering, I can address those through the references.
I want to jump in here and just clarify something. The fact of the matter is, I think it's quite all right to be interpreting Gurbani in the light of our own understanding. At the end of the day, when we say I am explaining Gurbani that is consistent with Gurbani is fine. I'm quite fine. You know, I mean, the question is not where. I'm just trying to understand the word, because my understanding of the word guru is quite different. I mean, gur, and you're calling it attentiveness. So it was just a question. But I think for each one of us here, we all have our experience with Gurbani, and we are all interpreting it through the filters of our own understanding. So that's perfectly fine. But I found it very interesting, just like Charan Singh Virji did from Bangalore. I really found it very interesting. I just was trying to get a little more illumination on it.
I just want to thank Charanjit Virji from Bangalore, because I think he resolved big connectivity for me when he said Surat is attention, and that's right. I want to just thank him for that.
So I want to just chime in. I'm having trouble understanding the you know I think there's a simplification being made here when we somehow reduce the guru to a formula or even a methodology, because that then things will be very simple. Then all you have to do is master this formula or methodology, but I think it requires much more than that to attain the guru. It requires understanding the Shabad, so that's what the Guru Granth Sahib prescribes at the end, in the final Madhavani, Sat Santok Vichar, that the three ingredients that have gone into the production of the Guru Granth Sahib. So Vichar is central, the being able to comprehend, understand, and then walking on that path, so that there is the path of Sikhi is traveled, so that there is Guru's grace, and Guru's grace enables us to travel that path. So I'm just wondering whether there is another way to restate what's been said.
Point well made, Harpreet. But before we go there, I wanted to reach out to Ekunkar and some of the others, and Dilpreet Singh, who I can see now, whether they have any. I do have a couple of questions to what you've said, but I'll hold off for now.
So do I. I would like
can we reach out to Ekunkar now? She hasn't had a chance to speak, nor has Dilpreet, nor has Kulwant Singh.
Sure, I appreciate that. So I mean, to the issue of formula, I will, since it was the word I used, I didn't realize it was going to create a little debate, but I do actually think it is simpler than we let ourselves believe. And looking at Japji, some of the lines that come to mind are and please forgive my pronunciation. I pronounce Gurbani with a Texas accent, so I apologize in advance for that. But the line Sunya Manne Manikita Bao Antargat Tirat Malanao from Japji, where we learn to listen and we learn to, accept and obey that what we're hearing when we're listening, and we're dyed in love in the mind, and we go within ourselves and find the bathing place to purify ourselves. I think the Guru gives all kinds of these instructions throughout Japji and throughout Guru Granth Sahib that are meant to be simple, actually, because he went to the common people who weren't literate and he awakened their consciousness. And so if we're, I think Gur and Guru are two different words, and Gur to me is more about understanding that there is a practical and not so difficult procedure for a human being to follow. But Guru is that amazing consciousness that runs through the creation and is part of the divine, and that manifested for us through the Shabad, that knows more than we do and guides us, and that's a different word, that way. But I think that formula and attentiveness work because of this conscious, the concept of Sonia and Manne in Japji, which is 20% of it. That's a training for listening and trusting what you hear when you listen, and finding the place inside of yourself where you recognize truth. It's not that we're looking anywhere outside of our own self to find truth. We're just trying to clear the junk that's in our mind so that we can recognize it when we hear it or see it. So that's just a further explanation, if it's helpful, on why I chose the word formula, but I'm also not attached to that word. Whatever word works is great.
The reason I was suggesting an alternative word for formula is because formula is, let's say, do this much and this will be received, right? Whereas in methodology you have various steps by which you conduct some, and it's a very elaborated arrangement in case of methodology. Whereas in the formulation you do these chantings 100 number of times and you will get through. That's how formula I understand. I may be wrong, but on the other hand, when we take, I'm responding now to Charan Virji from Bangalore. Virji, the pankti is Gur Paras Ham Lo Milkanchan Hoya Ram. And then the second pankti which gives the supportive evidence for that is Paras Parsiye Paras Hoye. So the Guru is that Paras to which we have to persona. That's how the Guru and Paras become interconnected with each other, and what is left is Ad. Ad means that whatever is the primal beginning we are talking about.
JD, can I come, or should I wait till everybody has spoken?
Hanji, this is Ravinder Singh. I'm sorry I got cut off, so I'm a little, I don't quite know who, Ekunkar obviously had her say, and Charan Singh Ji, you were responding to that. So, Harvinder, help me out. Where were we?
I think we can go to Charan Singh Ji and then we go to Dilpreet Singh Ji.
Okay, very well.
Viji, firstly, apne Harpreet Viji, I think it's a state of total surrender. There is nothing like attaining God.
Yeah.
I think there is something like merging somewhere in God. So if you mean attaining and merging are the same, fair enough. But to me, the two words attaining and merging have a different connotation. So therefore, if I am in the state of merging in God, then that's a state of utmost prayer. Attaining is achieving Him, and that I think is not utmost prayer. So firstly, I think it is merging in God, and therefore trying to merge in the ocean, falling into it. So that is one. Now, if that is the interpretation, then my understanding is it is seeking the blessing. There is an egoless state if you have to attain these qualities that have just been discussed, and then Gurbani will continue to repeat and say ke home dirag rog hai, daru bhi is by, and all those things. Then it's a state, egoless state, where you pray and you merge. So that is the first. Second, Our VG from Toronto has just mentioned Gur Paras Hum Lo Mil Kanchan Huara. Fair enough, but it's a touchstone. It's the goldsmith's touchstone. That doesn't mean that the term Gur Prasad can be, according to my limited understanding and my limited research, can't mean, at least I can't understand that interpretation that Virji had given us. The third thing, as far as the doubt between methodology and formula is concerned, means it's a surrender, means it's neither a methodology, it's neither a formula. To my mind, I may not have the proper Punjab English word for it. To my mind, when I go to Gurdwara, I listen to Gurbani. At the end of the program, I extend my hands, and then Kada Prasad is poured in my hand. All that I did is extend my hand. I think in the state of Gur Prasad that we are talking, it is something symbolic. Similarly, all I did is thought, and then I got this through Guru. I was able to attain the state of merger in Akal Purukh. And once I merged all the qualities that were stated earlier, unlike many other religions where God is sitting on the seventh or whatever planet or different cloud, all these qualities that were discussed earlier could be perceived, and what would be the right word, that I now could sense them. One could become nirpau, one could become nirvair, one could become timeless because now I've merged in the ocean. So these are the 3 points that I had.
Thank you, Virji.
So if I may just respond briefly. So Virji, I see your point, but the way in which I would look at it is that Barney doesn't see a distinction. So when we talk about merging, right, we are assuming that we are distinct from Vaheguru, but we are not. So when Gurbani says Mantu Jot Swarup hai apna mool pachan, so the Barney is telling us that you're already a part of the divine being. You need to recognize that you are, right? Recognize your true origin. So that's where I would perhaps, I think we are kind of engaged in perhaps semantics, and we're all saying the same thing, but that's the distinction I would make, that it's really a realization rather than merging into something.
Sure, I agree with you. But it is...
Vijay, can we turn to somebody else to chime in now?
This is Dilpreet Virji. Can you hear me?
Yes.
See, I would take it that we are saying all these terms, right? We have to go away from, I think, personally, from blessing. When we say we have to surrender, then surrender to what? Surrender to Shabad. What is Shabad? We have to, Shabad is Gyan and knowledge, which we have to practice. So I see Gurbani as a practical way to live life. It is Jivan Janch. And it is a Akhar to Shabad the Marar. Now when we say Akhar is, it is written, then we have to do vichar on it. Then we have to look inside ourselves. Like Bande Khoj Dil Har Roj, that where do I stand? How far I am away from Gurbani's teaching, and then make it as a way of life, because it will bring a change in our characteristics, and we will get the characteristics of Mool Mantar. That is what we want to attain. It is something to practice and change our characteristics, because I think this old concept of blessing and touching somebody's feet and then getting gyan and all that, I think Guru Nanak he is not preaching that old concept or old school of thought. He went away from that.
Thank you, Dilpreet. Haji Kulwant Singh ji, do you have anything to add?
I think मैं ये सोच रहा था कि भाई चाहे असी ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਈ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਆਈ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਟਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਬੜੀ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਨੀਡ ਹੈਗੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ, ਕਿ ਚਾਹੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗਿਆਨ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਏ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਪ੍ਰਯਤਨ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ। ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਥੋੜਾ ਵੀ ਆ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਮੇਰੇ ਪ੍ਰਯਤਨ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ, ਮੈਂ ਨਾਨਵਾਨ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ। ਐਂਡ ਦੈਟ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਮੇਨ ਬੈਰੀਅਰ। ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਰਜ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੈ, ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਹੈ, ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਖੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੈਗਾ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੱਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਬੈਰੀਅਰ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਕਈ ਹੈਗੇ ਪਰ ਮੇਨ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਹੋਣਾ। ਤੇ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਬਲੇਸਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਕੰਸੈਪਟ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਦਾ ਕੰਸੈਪਟ ਹੈ, ਉਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹਨਾ ਹੈ, ਰਾਦਰ ਦੈਨ even ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ, true knowledge which takes us out of the darkness, that is also with that also we just keep our humble attitude, you know. It is not that we are achieving on our own.
Gee, I think this makes for something very interesting. I see the point that Harpreet Singh is making. I'm similarly inclined. I think that really it is a matter of awakening to our true nature. We are much like the wave in an ocean that arises and sees itself as distinct, but it really isn't. And so we are similarly rooted in that timeless one, and it really is a matter of recognizing that. Being egoless, I'm not quite sure I understand what that means for me in my daily life. I understand not being self-centered, but that I can understand even without being religious. I mean, so I have a bit of difficulty grasping that myself as to what it might mean, being egoless or completely egoless, or if that is even possible. But the fact is, I myself would suggest that we need to examine Shabad Guru Surt Chela, because it encompasses a lot of this discussion here. It encompasses attentiveness. It even encompasses the notion of Gur, because I think that the Gur is actually subsumed in the Guru himself.
Yeah.
The method is in the Guru itself. So I just want to throw this out there, and I think that that's the direction, because I think when we examine the nature of Shabad and what it means to actually surrender, that Charan Singh Ji has been referring to surrendering, and Dilpreet is saying surrendering to what? It's surrendering to the Shabad, Shabde Mare. That perhaps might open up, I think, for us some path and sort of, a deeper understanding of where we are trying to go.
Right. See, we have this philosophy, Shabad Maro Fir Jivo Sadhi. We have gone away from that. But ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਰੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਮੰਨ ਕੇ ਰੋਜ਼ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਜਾਂਚ ਚੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਰੇ ਸੀ, right?
I agree with Dilpreet Veer ji, and certainly because ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੱਖਰ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਬਲੈਸਿੰਗ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਤਸੱਲੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਣਾ, ਉਹ that's not ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ means to me. ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡੀ ਵਿਦਾਂਤਿਕ ਇਨਫਲੂਐਂਸ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਣੀ ਹੈ. ਯੈਸ, ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੇਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਮਿਲਣੀ ਹੈ. there is no second thought on that. ਪਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਮੇਲ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਉਦਮ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਨਾ ਜੀ. ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਉਦਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਅਟੈਂਟਿਵਲੀ ਜੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਲੇਖੇ ਆਉਣਾ. ਜੇ ਅਟੈਂਟਿਵਲੀ ਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਲੇਖੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣਾ. ਫਿਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ, ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਜਨਮ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਜੇ ਪੱਤਾ ਪੇੜ ਤੋਂ ਛੁੱਟ ਗਿਆ ਫਿਰ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. ਸੋ ਨਾਓ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਟਾਈਮ ਵੀ ਨੀਡ ਟੂ ਐਕਸਪਲੋਰ ਇਟ ਫਰਮ ਦੈਟ ਐਂਗਲ ਕਿ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਲ ਹੋਏ ਹੀ ਹੋਏ, ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਦ ਟਾਈਮ ਵੀ ਨੀਡ ਟੂ ਕਨੈਕਟ.
Ji, Anji, Ekunkar, do you have anything to add? I don't see her online. Harpreet, any thoughts?
See, again, I would like to refer back, right, कि ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ भी Vedic thoughts ਦਾ Guru Nanak ਨੇ ਖੰਡਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ against ਗਏ ਆ, I think we need to keep bringing them. And ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ, ਦੇਖਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਖੰਡਨ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਾਪ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ, ਪੂਜਾ ਵਰਤ ਤਿਲਕ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨਾ ਪੁੰਨ ਦਾਨ ਬਹੁ ਦੇਨ, ਸੋ ਕਹੋ ਨਾ ਸੰਜਮ ਭੀਜੇ ਸੁਆਮੀ, ਬੋਲੇ ਮਿੱਠੇ ਬੈਨ, ਈਵਨ ਮਿੱਠੇ ਬੋਲਣ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਭੇਜਣਾ ਆ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੋਲ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਕਨਸੈਪਟਸ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕੀਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ ਆ। ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਗੇਨ ਆਈ ਵਿਲ ਰਿਪੀਟ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਲਿਹਾਰੀ ਗੁਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਿਵਹਾੜੀ ਸਦਵਾਰ ਜਿਨ ਮਾਨਸ ਤੇ ਦੇਵਤੇ ਕੀਏ। ਸੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਾਨਸ ਤੋਂ ਦੇਵਤੇ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਆ। ਸੋ ਹਾਊ ਵਿਲ ਗੁਰੂ ਡੂ ਦੈਟ? ਇਜ਼ ਗੁਰੂ ਅ ਮੈਜੀਸ਼ੀਅਨ? So if Guru is a magician, then he has a stick which he can put on us, or he can give us something to eat, or we touch his feet, we get that prasad. No, ਉਹ ਮਾਨਸ ਤੋਂ ਦੇਵਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੈਰੈਕਟਰਿਸਟਿਕ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪੇ ਬਣਨਾ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾ ਉਦਮ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ। ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ is the knowledge which we can practice, which we can adopt.
Hanji, thank you. Harpreet, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I think I don't have anything new to add other than just say that this explanation that Virji just offered is very appealing, that the Guru is the Shabad, as Guru Nanak confirms in the Siddh Gosht that we've quoted before. And it's a matter of us trying to understand. The Japji talks about Suniye, which is part of that understanding, being able to recite it, understand it, comprehend it, and then Maniye to follow it. And so I think that's what everyone seems to be saying.
Hanji, so sitting where we are in this discussion, we seem to be circling back to Shabad, and it seems to me that perhaps we need an expository framework to understand Shabad, better and deeper, in order to actually come back to Gur Prasad and then to be able to link the two. What does the Sangat think about that? I mean, at some point, I think we will eventually delve into the deeper meaning of Shabad, or at least discuss it. But I think that unless we do that, we'll probably keep going around in circles here. What does everybody think here?
No, that is a good thought. See, there is another thought which people say that Shabad is the sound, and there is a belief, or there is a thought of school which says that you have to go inside and listen to that sound, and then that sound will lead you to your Dasam Dwar. But that is not what Guru Nanak Shabad is. That is what Siddhs were practicing, and ਉਸ ਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਖੰਡਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ।
I mean, I wasn't suggesting a discussion right away. I wanted to get the opinion of the Sangat here, because it seems to me that we are at a point where, you just mentioned कि सिद्धां दा की मतलब सी शब्द नाल, शब्द दा जिहड़ा etymological root की है, which is sound, but is it also, communication? Is it a spectrum of communication? There are many nuances around that word that I believe we need to understand in order to understand Shabad as Guru and Guru as knowledge. It seems to me that will open up some layers of meaning for us that will be helpful. We don't have to start that discussion right now, but I think we need to go there at some point.
Also, I think, Ravinder Singh ji, we have to go to our questions too. Like the Sangat sent us the questions. So
Hanji.
I think we have to refer them also if we can today.
Hanji, surely. I did start out by saying that there were questions out there. So my question to you, Harvinder, is do you have the questions with you?
Hanji, I think I put the questions in the invite itself.
यार वो मेरे को है नहीं उन सामने.
I think that's fine. I think I can.
Can you read them out one by one?
Yeah, I can. I think so.
Yeah,
We can.
pehla pad dena.
Anji, the first question was like, who was Guru Nanak Dev Ji referring to by the Guru?
So I think we we keep circling back to the concept of Shabad, and the Shabad is not something that is it's connected to the idea of a revelation that Guru Nanak has, and as Guru Nanak says in Babar Bani, "Jaise mein aave khasam ki bani, taisara kari gyan mein lalo," that this is coming from God's court, or in his that's his claim, and so it kind of is not something that is experiential. And I think it's a major difference between Sikhi and, let's say, Buddhism, where the Buddha experienced something, and that's what he preached, whereas Guru Nanak is saying something very different, that this comes to me from my Lord, and that's what I'm preaching. I'm merely a mouthpiece. So maybe we can begin there and try to unpack that. What is the Guru saying?
My take is similar to what Ravinder Viji was saying about the communication part of it, because to me, Sabad is listening, speaking, sunna, bolna, dekhna, seeing, and reflecting. This composite makes me sa, ba, da, and thalle onkar, right? So that's how I relate to my day-to-day living. That if I have to connect to this attribute, which is listening, speaking, seeing, and understanding, that is a composite of Sabad that I understand in my day-to-day life.
Vijay, hello.
Hanji.
Ji.
Vijay, couple of things that come to my mind at this point. First is I would like to clarify, Harpreet Virji, when I say the difference between attaining and merging, I have a symbolic story of a river going and meeting the ocean. So the river has merged into the ocean, not attained the ocean. That's all I mean. And this could be, as you said, semantics, or for better words in English. This is what I meant, difference between merger and ocean and attainment. As far as the second component goes, and sorry, I was disconnected for some time. So
Viji, we are trying to answer some questions that have come to us from the Sangha.
Yeah.
So the question is, who is Guru Nanak referring to when he as a guru?
So Guru Nanak says, Gur Murat Gur Shabad hai. That is one thing, very, very clear. Second place, he says, Shabad Guru Surt Tunchela. So, and the third thing, when you say what was Guru Nanak saying, to me that line comes in mind, Balihari Kudrat Vasya Tera Ant Najai Lakhya. That is the Guru, according to Guru Nanak, as I understand. So Guru Nanak's Guru was God.
And Kabir ji is also saying that Kaho Kabir मैं सो गुर पाया जाका नाम विवेक. So ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਵੇਕ ਨੂੰ ਗਿਆਨ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਆ.
ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਸਤਗੁਰ ਹੈ ਗਿਆਨ ਸਤਗੁਰ ਹੈ ਪੂਜਾ ਸਤਗੁਰ ਸੇਵੀ ਅਵਰ ਨ ਦੂਜ. ਨੋ ਗਿਆਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਸੋਚਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗਿਆਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕ ਰਹੇ. ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਗਿਆਨ ਦੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ. ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ what I understand from ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ, and I do not know that words sa, ba and the have different meaning in Sanskrit, as our Virji from Toronto is saying, and that is learning for me. That sa means sunya and ba, I don't know what his interpretation, but that's interesting interpretation of the word sa, ba, the. But I did not know that, and maybe there is a very authentic Sanskrit source to what he's saying, but I would understand Shabad Guru.
So I think the issue now is, how does Shabad negotiate itself in our daily lives? I do want to come to that. Virji Charan Singh from Toronto referred to Shabad as standing for speech, language, thought, communication. I would like to urge you to perhaps give that some thought, because Harpreet mentioned the fact that Guru Nanak said, "Well, this came to me directly." True, but the fact of the matter is that he experienced it, just like the Buddha experienced something. He must have experienced something, and it perhaps he was simply the agency for communicating that. So there's communication. Likewise, we are also agents of that timeless being, Akal Purakh, and likely have similar capacities that Guru Nanak did. And I suppose that is what the Guru here, Guru Nanak, is asking us to actually open up. So I think that we have to understand how this Shabad plays out, because in Bani there is reference to different levels of speech, right? I mean, there is Bakhri Bani, Madhma, Basanti, Para, where Bakhri and Madhma refer to everyday sound. I mean, it's in Gurbani, and then the other two refer to the ultimate silence. I mean, that's where I want to understand. I mean, how does this Shabad negotiate itself from a God that we don't know down to my day-to-day life, where I can recognize it in the form of knowledge?
Ravinder Virji, I would like to say one thing. I was reading Gyani Dit Singh's book. He has written ਕਿ ਵਿਵੇਕਾਨੰਦ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਰਤਾਲਾਪ, ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ 4 ਵੇਦ ਆਏ ਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਇਹ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ 4 ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਲਹਾਮ ਹੋਇਆ ਉਹ ਵੇਦਾਂ ਦਾ। ਸੋ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੰਡਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਕਰੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਤੇ ਇਹਦੀ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਦਿੱਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਵਿਵੇਕਾਨੰਦ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਰਤਾਲਾਪ, ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੂਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਗਏ।
Oh, ठीक है, but I am trying to figure it out for myself. I don't want to really have any biases. So this is how I understand this.
No, I was not.
अगर गुरु ज्ञान है, अगर गुरु ज्ञान है, the way I think of it, in my very simple way of thinking, then ये ज्ञान जेड़ा ये मेरे चारे आसे पासे होएगा, at every level एक ज्ञान होएगा. So even at a cellular level, ਉਹਦਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, it is simply a matter for me to try and understand it, right? I mean, ਅਗਰ DNA ਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ decode ਕਰ ਲਿਆ, to me ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਹੈ, but somebody is decoding it. Similarly, ਮੇਰੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ creation ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਰੱਬ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਸਰਗੁਣ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ, ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਦਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲੁਕਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ। As a Sikh, मैं समझना कि इस ज्ञान ਨੂੰ खोजना मेरा काम है at various levels. But anyway, that's all I would like to say.
Absolutely right.
Actually, हर एक साढ़े गुरु ग्रंथ साहब ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਪਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਪੜੋ, ਆਸਾ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਪੜੋ, ਉਹ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। तो वाहिगुरु हर जगह ਤੁਸੀਂ जो भी कुदरत देख रहे हो या सारा किसी विस्मा जो होना है, ये वाहिगुरु की सारी बलहारी है। I think it is very repeatedly mentioned to us, but unfortunately it is very in day-to-day life we forget कि वाहिगुरु साढ़े विच भी है आस पास है, and then we start misbehaving or whatever we are doing, but otherwise in Bani it is very well emphasized. And दूसरा मैंने ये कहना है कि भाई ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਬਾਰੇ ਹੈ, ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇਰ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਇਹ ਪੜਿਆ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਦੱਸ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ, ਸਿੱਖ ਸਿਧਾਂਤ ਬਾਬਾ ਇਕਬਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਦੁਆਰਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਬਈ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਮਸਤਵਾਣਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਸੰਤ ਅਤਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਦੇਹਧਾਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੇ। ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਦੇਹ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਅੱਜ ਤੱਕ ਕੋਈ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ। ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਜਦੋਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸਨ, ਉਸਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਨਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਿਹਾ, ਐਂਡ ਦੈਟ ਇਜ਼ ਟਰੂ। our gurus have never said that you even hang our pictures or do something to our body, because body is not very important according to our Gurbani's message.
Hanji. I just want to add here one sentence to what I just said. Gyan does not, in my mind, mean Panditai or
No.
Vidvita. So to me, Gyan hasil da jada outcome hai, वो ये होना चाहिए that बंदा विस्मादी हो जावे.
Right.
Okay, अगर ਤੁਹਾਡੇ अंदर विस्माद नहीं जागया, that means you're on the wrong track. So
Vijay,
that is
can
the
I say
litmus.
something?
Hanji, please.
So
Sorry.
Gyan, sorry.
Hanji,
Vijay,
carry
can I
on.
say
Virji
something?
Charan Singh ji, please carry on.
Vijay, according to my understanding, and this is again coming from Gurbani, on one hand we say Satgur hai Gyan, we say Satgur hai Puja, Satgur Semi, Avarna Duja. So मेरी राय विच Guru Gyan है, पर we have to interpret it little carefully, क्योंकि गुरबानी ਇਹ भी कह रही है पवन गुरु, पानी पिता, उथे word आ रहा है पवन गुरु. So how are we going to literally say? So मन लगता है कि we have to follow गुरबानी and understand तिथे कड़ी है सुरत, मत, मन, बुद्ध, तिथे कड़ी है सुरा सिद्धा की सुध. So my understanding would be ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਗਿਆਨ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਤਿੱਥੇ ਕੜੀਏ ਸੁਰਤ, ਮਤ, ਮਨ, ਬੁੱਧ ਵਾਲੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਤੇ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ. ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਤਿੱਥੇ ਕੜੀਏ ਸੁਰਤ, ਮਤ, ਮਨ, ਬੁੱਧ ਵਾਲੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਤੇ ਆ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਪ੍ਰੋਬੇਬਲੀ ਵੀ ਵਿਲ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਔਰ ਸਰਗੁਣ ਦੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਖੇਡ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਪਈ ਹੈ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸਰਗੁਣ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਸੁਨ ਸਮਾਧੀ ਆਪ ਆਪਨ ਕੀਆ ਨਾਨਕਾ ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਫਿਰ ਜਾਪ. ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੁਰਤ, ਮਤ, ਮਨ, ਬੁੱਧ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਢ ਲਿਆ, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੂਲ ਮੰਤਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੁਣ ਕਹੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਣੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਗੇ. ਸੋ ਗਿਆਨ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਗਿਆਨ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਟੱਚ ਸਟੋਨ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਰਤ, ਮਤ, ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਢ ਲੈਣਾ, ਫਿਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਅਫਕੋਰਸ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਪਜੀ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਰ ਦੇਗੀ ਕਿ ਜਤ ਪਹਾਰਾ ਧੀਰਜ ਸੁਨਿਆਰ ਐਂਡ ਆਲ that. But I would still means in today's discussion I found two things very very interesting and I'm learning. First is ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਪਾਰਸ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ, if we can find out from Guru Granth Sahib ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ, see my feeling doesn't matter. ਬਾਬਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਬੜੀਆਂ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਦਸੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਇੰਟਰਪ੍ਰੀਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਕਿਤਾਬਾਂ 100 ਲਿਖੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਫੀਲਿੰਗ ਤੇ. ਸੋ ਮੇਰੀ ਫੀਲਿੰਗ ਨਹੀਂ, ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਪਾਰਸ ਵਾਲੀ ਮੂਲ ਮੰਤਰ ਦੀ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ. ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ, ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਹੀ ਜਾਂ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਵਾਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਅਗਰ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਏ ਕਿ ਸ ਬ ਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗਹਿਰਾਈ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈਗਾ, that will be very interesting. ਕਿ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਸ ਬ ਦ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਰਿਸ਼ਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ, that will be very interesting.
ਮੈਂ
we'll take that as a question to
would
be
request
addressed.
to help us
Hanji.
find and get into those two interpretations which he has shared with us.
Hanji,
मैं ਉਹਦੀ
absolutely.
ਇੱਕ ਪੰਕਤੀ ਬੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ, ਕਹਿ ਤੋ ਪੜ ਤੋ ਸੁਣ ਤੋ ਏਕ ਧੀਰਜ ਧਰਮ ਧਰਣੀ ਧਰ ਟੇਕ. This is the groundwork for that. ਸੁਣਨਾ, ਬੋਲਣਾ, ਦੇਖਣਾ ਤੇ ਸਮਝਣਾ, ਧੀਰਜ ਨਾਲ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ reflect upon ਕਰਨਾ. This is my day-to-day living in which I am speaking, listening, seeing, and very poisely, very confidently, very consciously and attentively I'm reflecting on that. That's how it means to me. और वो सारी खेड जड़ी है वो इक्को दी हुई है. That's how Sabad becomes my guru, because the moment I try to unfold myself into that bismadi avastha where I will be surprised, अरे ये किवें हो गया कि जड़ा बोल रहा ਉਹੀ ਸੁਣ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹੀ ਦਿਖ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹੀ ਸਮਝ ਰਿਹਾ. So I will definitely fall into that bismad, and this is the complete knowledge of Guru Granth Sahib ਕਿ ਆਪ ਬਿਸਮਾਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਅਚੰਭੇ ਚ ਆਣਾ, ਇੱਕ ਅਚਰਜ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹੀ ਸੁਣ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹੀ ਦਿਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਹੈ. That's what the naam is all about. ਮੇਰੀ but I can definitely give all the panktiyan. I can substantiate with numerous instances. Please don't mind, मैं कोई भी संस्कृत ਦੇ ਅੱਖਰ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਜੀ ਚੀਜ਼. ਸੰਸਕ੍ਰਿਤ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੇਰੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਹੋਈ ਸਾਰੀ I'm sorry. Sorry.
Anji, we are coming to the end. Is there anybody else who wishes to take a minute to close the conversation, and then I'll just wrap up?
Well, I just wanted to say that we probably need a bit more discussion on the definition and significance of the word Shabad, and it's a very important concept that will keep emerging, and perhaps we should take it on next time, and I perhaps all the panelists can do some preparation, look at it more deeply, and I think it'll be beneficial. And one comment to Ravinder Virji about you present a very interesting perspective that Guru Nanak would have had to experience the Shabad in order to communicate it, and I wholeheartedly agree, because it's the experience is pure, whereas when it goes through the linguistic apparatus, it's mediated through language, so there are certain limitations to language. So I do agree that the experience is far more important than how it is communicated linguistically.
Anybody else? Thank you, Harpreet.
I have missed.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Anji, we are wrapping up. We agree that we should take on the notion of the Shabad more seriously, because it will pop up over and over again. And I think it is best that we address it right now. And as Harpreet has suggested, perhaps all of us or those participating in the next session should come prepared and be able to speak a little more thoroughly to it. But it's been absolutely exciting. But I want to actually reach out to the others first. Anji, ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ? Harvinder Singh, do you have anything to add yet?
Virji, I think we have reached a stage where we need to clarify a few things. First is, we need to go in depth in the word Guru. We have yet not attained it, and I think Shabad and Guru are two related things. So on one hand, maybe we should devote one session completely to the word Guru or Shabad. Second, I think scholarly support from people like Brigadier Ravel Singh or Gabri or Gurdarshan Singh Ji is very, very necessary. All of us are in our young or middle age. We have spent lots of times in our professional life, but as far as clarifications coming from Gurbani into Gurbani, I think these people who have devoted 50, 60 years of their life to Gurbani search, if one of them is available on the panel, that will be a very, very good support. So Gurbani will answer Gurbani itself. So I urge that maybe next time somebody with scholarly belt like the three of them who are on our panel should be with us. Thank you. Just these two observations.
So if there is nobody else who wishes to say anything, I would like to thank everyone for a very robust discussion around these concepts. And I think that we indeed need to delve deeper into these concepts. It's not just Guru and Shabad, it's also Naam and Hukam, because these terms are used fairly synonymously in various contexts. But the interesting thing, though, is that in Gurbani, as far as I know, of all of these synonymous terms, it's only Shabad that has been referred to as Guru. Naam has not been referred to as a Guru, as far as I know. I could be wrong. Nor has Hukam. It is only Shabad that is the Guru. And I think these are twin concepts. They needed to be treated holistically and together. And I would recommend that we take on the next session to actually address these twin concepts. And of course, we would like to invite our seniors here, people who have devoted a lifetime, although I'm not necessarily convinced that a lifetime of reading Gurbani necessarily endows you with the necessary apparatus. You could be very young and have it. I mean, it is just a grace, I guess. But certainly people who are in the know. And one last thing, we keep referring to Gurbani, the Khulasa Gurbani Vichoi. I want to remind all of you, at the end of the day, it is your brain that is interpreting that. You think you are going back to the Guru, but actually it is your experience that is filtering that. I could come up with a whole host of supporting material from Gurbani, but the fact of the matter is it's me that's talking. It's my experience that is actually interpreting it. But enna ko kehndे hoya main maafi da ja chaka. ਤੇ ਹਰਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ, do you want to add anything? And next Saturday ਕਦੋਂ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਦੱਸ ਦੇ.
Anji, I will send the invite for next Saturday. I think we need to continue on the Gur Prasad, and we will, I think, discuss on Saturday all three terms together: Guru, Shabad, and Naam. I think we use all these three kind of interrelated. So I think, and also we still have the open questions from the Sangat. So I think we will continue on this topic, and I believe Charan Singh ji from Bangalore will moderate that discussion.
Sure, I'm available. I'll do it on Saturday.
ठीक है.
Thank you ji.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.